I'm gonna show you my tips for how not to fail at making a pie. Are you like me and you don't like baking? Raise your hand and comment below on your favorite cheat tips in making a pie. The #1 step is to choose the right pie plate. Read the recipe. It may call for a deep dish pie plate or a regular pie plate, and that is going to be key to making a perfect pie. For example, if your recipe calls for a deep dish pie plate and you make it in a regular pie plate, you're going to have way too much filling, and it's also going to affect the cook times. And vice versa, if your recipe calls for a regular pie plate and you use a deep dish, it's only going to fill it halfway. Next up, crust credentials. There are 2 main types of pie crust, a dough crust or a crumb crust. While you know I love taking store-bought shortcuts, making your own pie crust is really easy. I'm gonna show you how to make both a dough crust and a crumb crust. Let's start with the dough pie crust. You definitely have all these ingredients on hand, so you can make a pie crust at any time. Remember, keep your ingredients cold when you're making a pie crust. You wanna keep that butter separated from that flour a little bit when it bakes, so it makes those nice flaky layers. Notice I'm making it in a food processor. If you want to go through the trouble of cutting your butter into your flour with a pastry cutter, you go ahead. This is definitely the easy way to go. To the food processor, I've got flour and salt. We're gonna add in ice cold butter that I've cut into cubes. This is going to be super easy to cut into as you pulse. It's going to look like wet sand that's super coarse. We're going to add in ice cold water, a tablespoon at a time. As you can see, it comes together nicely. Resist the urge to add too much water. We'll turn it onto a lightly floured surface just to help form it into a disc. We're going to wrap it in plastic and chill it for a few hours. We've got to keep things nice and cold. That's how we'll get that good flaky crust at the end. I made one earlier and it's been chilling, so now it's time to roll it out and fit it to the pie plate. An easy way to transfer it to your pie plate is to fold it partially and set it in the plate. It's good to roll your pie crust bigger than the pie plate itself, so you've got room to make a pretty edge on your crust. Once you've folded the edges under, now it's time to make those pretty crimped edges. Now listen, you can always use the fork like our moms taught us how to do, but it never looks quite as pretty. Basically, you use both hands. You're going to either use your 2 knuckles or your 2 fingertips to create one side and then push in with the opposite hand. I like to use the sides of my fingers or my knuckles so that you don't get like fingernail marks in your crust. There you go. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. Now this crust is ready to be cooked. A lot of recipes like apple pie call for your crust to be unbaked before you fill it. Then other recipes call for a cooked pie crust. That is when you're going to want to do something called blind baking. We need to hold its shape pressed against the sides of the pan, and in order to do that, we need to weight the pie crust down. To do that, you can use pie weights, which they sell in a lot of kitchen supply stores, but I like to just use dried beans. They're super inexpensive and you can reuse them over and over. But one thing to remember is these are not suitable for cooking with anymore. So you don't want to eat these. Keep these separate from your other dried beans. For extra insurance so that it doesn't puff up at all, you can also dock it with a fork. That's just making little holes in there so that any steam can escape. Before you pour your beans in, don't forget to lay down some parchment paper so the beans don't stick to the dough. Press them all the way up the sides into the little crevices. You bake this for about 20 minutes or so on 425 until it's golden brown around the whole thing. Pre-baked crusts are perfect for things like lemon pie, key lime pie, or chocolate cream pie where the filling is prepared in advance. Now let's talk about cookie crumb crust. I love a graham cracker crust. It's so buttery and delicious. It's my favorite kind. So they're super easy to make. Graham cracker crumbs, sugar, and melted butter. There's really only one major rule when it comes to cookie crumb crust, and that is don't pack it into the pie plate. If you pack the crust in too hard into the pie plate, the filling won't adhere to the crumbs. And also, after you bake it a little bit, it makes it too hard to cut at the end. You can use the back of a spoon or your hand works just fine. One thing I forgot to mention is you don't want to butter or grease your pie plate when you're working with either type of pie crust. There's so much butter in there. If you do, it will start to slip down or slide off the pie plate. Just loosely pack your crumbs onto the pie plate. Sometimes crumb crusts are simply frozen before they're filled, and sometimes they're pre-baked. I like to pre-bake it because I think it enhances the flavor and sets it just a little bit. When you bake a cookie crumb crust, all you're looking for is a little bit of golden brown around the edges. Once it's cooled, it's ready to be filled. And of course, my favorite no-bake pie filling is peanut butter pie. I don't know what it is, but making pies is a little less intimidating than baking cakes. We've just about covered crust. We'll come back to it when I show you how to make that fancy lattice top. In the meantime, let's talk fillings. Custard-based pies and fruit-based pies are the two most common. Custard-based pies are things like lemon meringue pie, key lime pie, or even buttermilk pie. Come over here and let me show you a couple tips to remember when making the custard. In order to prevent your custard from sticking to the bottom and sides of the pot, first of all, use a rubber spatula and then stir, making a figure 8. This way you don't end up with scrambled eggs. And secondly, you'll know it's done when the filling coats the back of a spoon. And don't get nervous if the filling doesn't seem thick enough when you pour it into the shell. It will firm up as it refrigerates. Next up are fruit-filled pies. They are super easy to make, and they generally start with your favorite fruit sweetened up by a good amount of sugar. They generally need some thickening, so sometimes they're thickened with cornstarch or flour, but our great tip here is to use tapioca starch instead. That will thicken it without altering the flavor at all or adding that starchy taste. I love using tapioca here because you don't have to worry about it clumping up at all. Fruit-filled pies tend to go in an unbaked pie shell. And now, as promised, time for that lattice topping. To get started, you'll roll out the same amount of dough that you used for your bottom pastry for the top. Once it's rolled out, you'll cut strips about 3/4 inch thick. A ruler can help get you straight lines. A pizza cutter works great here as well. You'll lay 6 or 7 strips going parallel to each other. Next, lift up every other strip about halfway. And now start laying your strips going the opposite direction. Fold those back down and now raise up the alternate ones. And then just repeat the process until your pie is covered. Now we'll just trim around the edges and press the sides together. If your dough got a little too warm while you were working with it, go ahead and pop it in the fridge for a few minutes before baking. Whenever you have a 2-crust pie, it's always good to make a little egg wash for the top. An egg wash is simply just a beaten egg. Sometimes you can add a little bit of water, which I like to do to thin it out a little bit. This makes it not only shiny, but it helps a little sugary coating stick to the top. Simply brush it on top, and then we're gonna sprinkle with some turbinado sugar. I love a sprinkle of sugar because not only does it look pretty, but I love that crunchy top. I like to bake my fruit-filled pies on top of a baking sheet in case any oozes out, it won't burn at the bottom of your oven. While we're on the subject of topping our pie, let's talk whipped cream. We all know that whipped cream is pie's very best friend, but there are a couple tricks to remember. First of all, don't make it too far in advance. It tends to separate the longer it sits. Secondly, be sure your cream is super cold. You can buy the store-bought stuff, but it's really easy to make, so why not make your own? Your whipped cream does not need to be sweet because there's so much sweetness in your pie. If you do want to sweeten it, I suggest go lightly. Perfect. Don't whip it too much or you'll have butter. If you do need to make your whipped cream in advance, a great tip is to use a stabilizer like gelatin. Although in my case, that's a good time to buy some Cool Whip. If you're topping your pie with a streusel topping, you don't want to put it on at the beginning of baking or it's likely to burn. A great tip there is to add your streusel topping at the last quarter of baking. If the outer edges of the pie are cooking before the rest of the pie, it's great to invest in a pie shield. You can just put this around the edges and it keeps the outside from burning. You can also do this with foil. Now it's time to serve it up. Remember, getting that perfect slice of pie is no piece of cake. First and foremost, you need to know that the first slice is not going to be pretty, so you may as well go ahead and call that one for yourself. Another thing I found to be helpful is to invest in a thin spatula that can really get underneath the slice of pie. And finally, before you slice, dip your knife into warm water so it glides through easily. I hope these tips will help you perfect your next pie. For more videos like this, don't forget to follow Allrecipes on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Happy baking. The peanut butter pie worked out well. I'm gonna give it a shot on the apple pie. This one's still hot. Yeah, this for sure is not gonna work. This apple pie is definitely too hot to get a beautiful slice, which brings me to a great tip. They slice better when they're cold.